Welcome back, Panther fans. I'm David Brown, along with Ryan Graham,
Hey, y'all.
Tim Thurber,
Hello.
and this is State of Atlanta. Afternoon, Graham.
Hey.
Yeah, how's it going?
Cheers.
It is indeed going.
You guys have a good weekend? Do anything? Have fun?
I don't remember.
How about that bounce house there, Ryan?
Yeah. So over the weekend, Laurie, my partner, went out. I don't even remember where she was going. But she sent me a text, said, maybe you want to take Izzy over to the stadium. It looks like football is having some kind of event. There's like a bouncy house out there. So it looks like maybe something good for kids. So we get her together and go on a walk over to the stadium. And sure enough, there's that big old inflatable panther right out front, the entrance, that one that all the players run through that looks like the top of a bounce house, like a really cheap kids bounce house too. And they were doing a camp. They were doing like a high school recruit camp, the Sean Elliott football camp. And that's what people were entering with. I'm like, guys, fail.
Yeah, please tell me that you walked up there and found a sharp object and slit that thing to death,
yeah,
right?
Of course, I did that.
Thank
that
you.
because you can't really prove I didn't. So
and then go on here and admit it that you did it, so that
I did do it.
Georgia
David,
State
my
legal.
mind was going the same place yours was, but unfortunately, I don't think Ryan came through in the clutch.
Well, Laurie did not back down from it, though. She maintains it is a bounce house, right?
She did maintain for a short time, and I told her that I thought it was hilarious that it was insisting that it was a bounce house.
Well, you said it's a bounce house without all the fun, right?
Yeah, basically, it's just the top half, and like I said, it's a very cheap one.
You can jump on concrete under it, right?
You could, yeah.
That thing is so bad.
Fun.
It's really
that thing
terrible.
is so bad.
I don't know. It's like 2 or 3 seasons old now, too, isn't it?
Oh, it's got to be older than that, isn't it? Isn't it from the Georgia Dome days?
I don't think so, but
I thought that it was the first year we were in our stadium, our Center Park.
I thought so too. Yeah,
Georgia State Stadium.
Georgia State Stadium. Yeah.
Yeah, I was hoping it would go away after one season, but it didn't.
No, we invested a lot of money in that thing. We're going to get every dime out of it we possibly can.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? If they use it for recruits and that's it, I'm perfectly fine.
What?
Yeah,
No.
How many recruits do you see actually taking a picture in front of that thing and posting it on the internet?
I would count that against Georgia State if I were a recruit walking in. I'd be like, I don't know what they think of me, but maybe they think I'm a child. You know?
Yeah,
Inflatable check.
You're pulling up to Summerhill. You see all the new development going on. You see these athletic dorms you'd be staying in if you come here. You see the restaurants, all the stuff coming up. This awesome stadium that's been retrofitted to hold football. And you're like, man, I'm feeling pretty good about this. What the hell is this cartoon?
Top half of a bouncy house.
top half of a bounce. Yeah. No, that's definitely
I'm no expert in inflatables, and I'm sure there's some kind of weird fetish group about that, but that thing is ugly. Sorry. Just throwing it out there.
It's absolutely horrible. Absolutely.
I think it actually is the kids panther too. Like the kids pounce, like the animated kids pounce. That's like a little different.
Yeah, if they wanted to put an air mattress at the bottom of it, put some netting around the sides, and make that a bounce house for kids, then it's fine. Put it over in Pouncetown, and we'll deal with it. But yeah, as far as what our players were, that thing that's supposed to be that intimidating factor when players run out into the field, sorry, you missed the mark on that one. It's horrible.
Yeah, we need to like the Georgia Dome days, get the pyrotechnics back, because I remember we used to come out to fireworks and stuff, man.
Those were awesome.
Yeah, that was cool. I think they just used all the Falcon stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Just there was probably part of a package. They actually had like a little a la carte menu on Georgia Dome's website. You could figure out the cost to put together an entire football game you wanted to. You just go there. It's like cost to turn the lights on, cost to host this, cost to open. We looked at it. Well, we looked at it very, very briefly, considering the Georgia Dome for our wedding venue. But I told Kim we could only afford to get married like outside of a courtyard, that little green patch of ground they had right there, which I think now is well, that's not Mercedes-Benz. Either way, And she said, no, if we're getting married at the Georgia Dome, it's on the 50-yard line with everything going on. I'm like, yeah, we can't afford that.
Lights
That's
off,
not happening.
though. Lights off.
Although I do give her credit, that's awesome that she maintains that if we're doing it at the Georgia Dome, you're going big or go home. So
well, what you do is you set it up so the person who's officiating is right on the other side of the touchdown line, and then when you walk up the aisle, you cross the touchdown line, right?
Or I was thinking actually she could have come out of the big blue Panther and with the players come out, and then her like procession down to me would be at the end zone line. She have to walk 100 yards while they play like the "Here Comes the Bride" song, like 3 or 4 times at that little single step pace that they do.
Everybody's super bored.
Oh my God, they've already left.
Takes like an hour to get there.
And then when she crosses the touchdown line, though, everybody just holds their hands up. Touchdown!
Exactly. Yeah. I did not mean to talk about that, but that was pretty funny. I like that.
Yeah.
So what do you guys want to talk about? There's the big thing I think is the college football playoff expansion has kind of been like not finalized, but we know where it's going.
Where's it going?
12 teams.
Definitely though, like pretty definitely.
It's not signed into stone, but from everything reading online, it says that it's going to get approved. This is the plan that everyone's back behind, and it's going to get approved.
Is it the one you texted about that we all liked?
Yeah, it's 12 teams, top 6 conference champions. Does not matter if they're P5 or G5, and then 6 at-large bids. So I think that's. I don't know who the G5 commissioners were like filleting or whatever, but they did something to get this to work. This is literally the best scenario you could get for G5.
We all thought it wouldn't be able to happen like this. We assumed there would be some kind of divide that had to happen.
Right. They're not acknowledging G5 while still allowing G5 to become part of the playoffs every single season. It's called P5 for a reason.
Right.
Because, there's only 5 of them. So, and on a bad
potentially
year,
more than one.
Yeah, for a bad year because Big 12 sucks, right? That's the one that sucks. It's very possible that you could have 2 G5 conference champions ahead of them in the rankings. Yeah. So you get a G5 in every one of the college football playoffs should this go through, which we think it's going to. I think it's awesome.
Yeah. No, I'm fully on board. I agreed. This is what I wanted, the conference champion type thing. And you were saying you didn't like my idea because of the whole, I was saying you got to split it with P5 and G5. And they sort of just said, no, we don't. And we're like, what? Okay.
Yeah, it's funny because whenever I see stuff like this on the internet, anything that's divisive, there's always these people who say, well, what about this? Or should have been this way, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, all right, these are some people, whether they get it right or wrong, they've literally considered every possible scenario, objection, concern, or whatever. And I never even thought about just taking the top 6 conference champions without any kind of distinguishing. I'm like, oh, that was smart. I didn't think of that one.
and are the 6 at-larges just your top ranked whoever didn't win their conference champion, basically?
Well, so I think what they're going to do, I think it seems to be a little not settled on the internet exactly about what it's going to be, the final wording is going to be. But I think what it's going to be is they're going to take the top 6 conference champions, and then they're going to pick teams 7 through 12. I mean, they're still there. It's just like the college football committee was doing, picking their teams 1 through 4. They're still kind of picking. There's still going to be a huge subjective part of it.
Sure,
but it'll be rankings, though, right? I mean, those teams will be the highest ranked teams, right? They're not going to like skip ranked the 4th ranked team and then like they just don't make it.
That's one question I have on there because one of the ESPN articles I read kind of said like what it would have looked like last year. And we can talk about it a little bit more, but Coastal would have been in based off of last year, but that's because Pac-12 wasn't even in.
Yeah,
right.
Didn't have anybody. And we can talk about whether Coastal should have been in or whatever later on. But they had Coastal. I would think that if you are the 5 and 6 conference champions, that means that the first round is going to be played at home on campus. That means that Coastal should have had a home game, but they had Coastal playing away, as a 12 seed. So yes, Coastal got in as a conference champion, but they weren't ranked as a 5th or 6th seed. They were still ranked at their lower seed. So I don't know how that's going to work out exactly.
I think that makes sense. If it's a lower person, you see them lower still. I actually think that's fair, and that's a good way to do it.
Yeah. So Tim, what do you think about how this works out? Do you think it is beneficial to just the G5, to the P5, to everything? What do you think?
I think it's beneficial to everybody. 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 I think it's bene
What's your take
Well,
on
I
it?
mean, it's immensely beneficial to the SEC. They're going to get an auto bid times 3 or 4, most likely. I think it's good for the G5. It gives us a shot. I mean, listen, we had the G5s, no matter what we all want to think or say, probably didn't really have a shot to ever get in, period. So this at least provides a shot for someone. I'm not saying multiple, but hey, you never know. Someone to get in.
I mean, look at UCF and what was it, 2017? They were an undefeated team, and I don't like talking big about them because they kind of annoy me. But they had every right to complain about not being admitted into the college football playoff, and they would have been. They may have been a legit 5th seed or 6th seed, despite all the other teams in there. That would have been good for them to actually see what happened. I think that they even had the mock-up said they would have played Alabama in the very first round, which would have been exactly what they wanted that season. Weren't they the bring on Bama guys? So.
Yes, they were. I mean, I think there had been an article that said like Cincinnati and Coastal would have gotten in, but that was last year, pandemic, no pack, right? If they were playing, I think we would maybe get one in, right? But
could you imagine?
One's better than 0. I mean,
so the Coastal fans were insufferable last year, doing as well as they did. Could you imagine if they actually made it to the playoff? The first Sun Belt team to make it to the playoffs, what those fan base would have been like?
They wouldn't be. I mean, they wouldn't be in the Sun Belt anymore.
Can you imagine what we'd be like?
Coastal Belt.
No, I guarantee what we'd be like the entire time. We're like, I'm not buying into this game. I'm not buying into this game kicks off. There's something's going to happen. Something's not going to be right. This isn't going to happen. My life's not this good.
Yeah, this is all an elaborate prank on me somehow or another.
Yes, all 130 football teams got together to conspire to ruin my life because that's the way it feels.
They're like, have you guys ever heard of that curse of Atlanta? Because we could really use that. We could really just screw with those people.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about like Coastal and everything because do you think they even belong, even with the Pac-12 not being in there? And Coastal did not win a conference championship game. They were just, anointed conference champion by the Sun Belt. And I think they were actually technically considered co-champion, but they're the ones that got the rings or the trophy or whatever it was. Do you think that the College Football Committee would have penalized Coastal for not playing in that game, or would have pressured Sun Belt to put App State and Lafayette together in the game? Because I feel like there would be some kind of pressure to actually have a legit conference champion if you're putting them into a playoff scenario.
It's hard to say because COVID just sort of was a big curveball. I think they would have pressured to have a conference championship. They probably would not have let Sun Belt get away with just skipping that part. But what was Coastal ranked? Would they have just been in?
I want to say they were 12.
Yeah, would they have been in conference champion or not?
No, so that's the thing though. Just because they were ranked 12th then does not mean they would be ranked 12th now, because it's going to be up to this committee, and there's a very good shot that the committee, once this goes through, is not as favorable to a G5 program. They could say, oh, well, if we put Coastal as 12, that means they're going to the playoffs, so we'll make them 13.
Are you suggesting that they don't believe that Coastal was the 12th ranked team last year?
I'm saying that this committee is in charge of generating the most revenue possible for TV dollars, and they will do whatever it takes to maximize that.
I don't like your wild accusations, David.
Which to an extent makes sense. So yeah, everyone says you can complain about being the 3rd team left out of a 2-team championship. You can complain about being the 5th team left out of a 4-team championship. But it's kind of hard to complain about being the 13th team let out of a 12-team playoff. Except for except for when no one wants to see a playoff game being played on that god awful teal field, or don't want to have a stupid sea chicken as a mascot, or they know that they're not going to get anybody to watch some game of Coastal versus Notre Dame or whatever it may be.
Yeah, but I mean, I think if you go into like basketball and you have your Cinderella stories and stuff like that, people like these kind of stories. People want to see them go and win. There would be a lot of people that watched it just knowing that they won a bunch of games. You remember UCF when they ended up playing Auburn? I mean, that was national news. People were really excited about UCF.
Yeah, well, they won that game, and Coastal couldn't even beat Liberty in their bowl game, so Coastal sucks.
Well, but they didn't know that at the time.
I could have told you that. I think I did tell you that, in fact.
You didn't know, though. You just don't like Coastal.
I really don't.
I know.
You don't like their fan base either, so it's okay.
Well, they shit in
Shit in
my
the toilet multiple times.
all
Not
of
just
them.
once.
Every fan that came to Atlanta came and took a shit in my bathroom.
Which is like the entire fan base of Coastal, I believe.
All 6 to 7 of them.
So one of the things that was talked about quite a bit on message boards and the internet about this whole thing was whether or not this would force the hand of any kind of conference realignment. Do you think that this makes the P5s or the G5 conferences any more or less anxious to expand? Go for it, either one of you.
Yeah, no, I think it makes us. It would be less anxious for us to move up because there would be more flexibility for G5 team to make it to actually like come up to the upper echelons and do well, and so there's not as much pressure to go into the P5 because you could make it at the bottom.
What do you think? Actually, Tim, go ahead.
What?
Sorry. I was going to say tell Ryan why he's wrong, but you seem to want to agree with him. So go ahead and can keep the masquerade up. Go for it.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I don't think it puts pressure on realignment at all. It puts pressure on it puts pressure on ULM to start winning because they'll pull the conference down if you play them.
I don't think that Monroe has any more pressure. I don't think it's possible for Monroe to have any more pressure to win, and I really don't think they care about pulling the conference down whatsoever at all. It's not like they're like they just don't kick us out, guys. That's
I was about to say it might put pressure on the Sun Belt to boot them.
Right. Yeah. Or the conference is to say you got to start winning or you got to get out.
Yeah. So I agree that I don't think that it really puts pressure on specifically like American to fill that gap. And I think their commissioner has even come out this past week saying they have no intentions on filling that empty space right now. There could be something maybe Big 12 wants to get to 12 teams. I don't know. But there's been a lot of talk about maybe this would be the time for Sunbelt to try to poach Conference USA. We talked about it before, try to get a UAB or a Southern Miss or a Marshall or something. And I don't disagree with that. I think this may be a time to try to make the Sunbelt a little bit stronger of a conference. And you guys know I am no fan about the Sunbelt. I don't give a crap about this conference whatsoever at all. But if you want, realistically, you're only talking about one G5 team getting in every year, maybe sometimes two. So you want to position yourself to be the best G5 conference you can be. And right now that's American, and it's not even close. Sunbelt showed over this past season that, you know, they can win some games and they can look pretty good out there. And if you can bring in a couple of teams that maybe give a little name notoriety and give a little history to winning, I think maybe pulling in a Marshall and a UAB or Marshall and a Southern Miss may actually make a lot of sense for the conference. I think you can.
So how many teams do you want to go to? You want to go from 10 to 12, 14? What do you want?
I would say that there's no reason to go beyond 12.
I would agree.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be all for dropping Monroe and adding UAB, Southern Miss, and Marshall. But
that'd be strong.
I don't think we're kicking anybody out.
Your apathy towards the Sun Belt, would that extend to other conferences, or is that a Sun Belt thing? Like if we were in the American, would you root for the American, or would you just be like, no, but I don't really care about all those teams?
No, I would totally, like, you go to a bar during bowl week and you have these Georgia fans who hate, like, with a passion, their blood boils at every, like, Florida touchdown or anything good that happens for them. But as soon as Florida wins their bowl game, these Georgia fans are just shouting SEC, SEC, SEC.
You would do that?
No, I wouldn't do that because we wouldn't be in the SEC. But I do think that if we were in the American, if we were in the American,
I'm like, where the hell is this story going?
If we were the American, yeah, I would outside of, you know, our own games, I'd want to see our opponents, our conference mates do well because it would boost Georgia State. I want to see Georgia State look like the outlier in this conference and look like they don't belong here because we're the best team in the conference. That's what I want.
So you want to be Coastal from last year without teal turf? I
don't ever want to be associated Coastal whatsoever at all, and that's why I don't want to be in this conference.
Tim, he doesn't want to be his most hated rival.
They're not my most hated rival.
Your second most hated rival.
We don't even have a rival.
That's because they're rivals, so you don't want to give them the respect that you're actually giving them.
Exactly.
I'm excited for the playoff expansion, though. I'm curious. I didn't read when it could go into effect. I mean, I
This year.
wish it would go into effect right now, but I know it's
Yeah.
not.
So I think there's still like 2 or 3 years or 3 or 4 years left on the initial agreement. But that I mean, when there's money at stake, you can rewrite contracts.
Do you
Yeah,
get a
I think
COVID
they-
waiver on that?
I think that the general consensus online is that the earliest it would go into effect would be the 2023 season. So, not this year, not next year, and then go into effect the following year, which kind of makes sense. I think if somebody said the truth on the internet and I read it correctly, then the current bowl alignment for I think there's 9 bowls that are part of the college football playoffs. It would finish out that first segment, the first 9 years of it, so they would all get their little chance at whatever games they get. So starting 2023 would have been like a restart back to year one kind of thing. So it'd be even that way.
So we're right on schedule then for the Georgia State National Champions 2025.
2020, the path has been laid for Georgia State's 2025 national championship.
Man, Reddit must have something. They forced this change for the college football playoff, didn't they?
Yeah, well, I looked at it at what our future schedule, like our out of conference schedule is, and if it was to go into effect next year, it's a good out of conference start. We have South Carolina, North Carolina at Center Park, and then Charlotte here, and then at Army. It's a good out of conference schedule to kind of get on the radar. You win all 4 of those games, you get on the radar of the football committee, and then you just blow out the crap conference we're in, and we're the 6th best team in the nation. But then 2023 is just not that sexy of a start. Rhode Island, UConn, Charlotte, and then LSU. Obviously, if you can beat LSU, that's great. But just the rest of the out-of-conference schedule is just not sexy in 2023. So
yeah, no, that's not very sexy. What about 25? Do you have that or not?
all we have right now is Memphis at home. That game they bailed on us a long time ago during the Hurricanes, and then at Vanderbilt. So
It's okay. That's good. It's winnable games,
Yeah, so I think we should get Tennessee back on the schedule and maybe put the Monarchs. Was that the Monarchs? Chattanooga, whatever they are.
No,
Let's get the entire
Old Dominion.
Old Dominion,
Dominion's
the Mocs. Let's just get the entire state of Tennessee in our schedule for
There you go.
2025. Yeah.
There you go.
The Tennessee World Tour.
Yeah.
If Tennessee was a world.
Yeah, I was gonna say this.
That's
Tennessee
actually
World
something
Tour.
people from Tennessee would say something like that. We're the world champions of Tennessee.
Yeah, okay.
It's definitely a different state depending on where you are and what direction you go.
Yeah. So anyhow, I think it's exciting with this whole thing with the 12-team expansion. It's better than we could have ever imagined as a G5 program. So we'll see what happens with it.
Yeah,
It's a seat at the table. That's all you need.
I love
We
it.
start
I'm excited.
we start the season with a legitimate shot to be in the playoffs. I think at this point right now, your out of conference schedule, you want to get as many American teams on your out of conference schedule as possible. Because if that
Or
is
just
going to
being
be
the American.
or just being the American. Yep. That's actually the easiest way to get a lot of American teams on your schedule is to be in that conference. So
And then you just fill the rest with lower tier P5.
or I mean at this point, we're just beating the P5s. We don't care if they're upper or lower tier. I wonder if it'd be something like with college basketball where losing to a good team is better than beating a bad team.
I mean, I would
Style points are going to come into play.
What was that, Tim?
I said style points are going to come into play just like they do for the NCAA tournament seeding.
Well, it'd be interesting to see if the blowout wins. That was a big thing in the BCS was they actually wanted teams to win by 60 points because that helped them in the rankings to move up. So I don't know if that would have any impact on this, but it's subjective, not computers. I don't know.
It's both, isn't it?
No, I don't think there's any computers involved in this whatsoever at all. I think it's just a committee that gets to fly around every week to a different city to talk about the teams they want to put in there. And at least they talk about 12 teams now instead of 4 because you could literally just tweet your 4 teams that you wanted to be in there before. You don't need
be done. Yeah.
You don't need to get together in a conference room to talk about that. It's like, oh, it's going to be Bama, Clemson, and then I don't know, the Big Ten champion and whoever loses the SEC.
Man, they're going to have some heated debates about 11, 12, 13, and 14.
They're not going to care about that whatsoever at all. They're going to be like, who's going to travel well? Who's going to put up TV numbers? So I don't think
How can we make money? Yeah.
Man, David is cynical.
It's all about the dollar with David.
Come on. Yeah. The world runs on money. What are you going to say?
That's true.
All right. Well, I think we kind of killed this. We'll talk about it more a lot, I'm sure, as things progress. There was actually some really huge Georgia State news that came out last week. We have potentially the next president of the university,
Nice.
Dr. Brian Blake, who's from Georgia. I think he's from Savannah originally, went to Tech, went to Mercer. His resume is ridiculous. He's at George Washington currently, like the provost and the executive vice president of academic affairs and provost at George Washington University. They have his CV on their website. It's 39 pages long. 39 pages long of accomplishments and achievements and awards and everything he's done. The dude on paper could not be more ideal candidate for me for the president of the United States. For president of the United States, Dr. Blind Bank in 2022.
Breaking news! You heard it here first.
No, he sounds great. And then what I love about being a techie guy myself, he graduated from Tech with a some kind of engineering degree. I think Mercer got a master's in electrical engineering. He taught computer science. The guy's a techie. I think that's a direction that Georgia State should really focus on in the future as well. So hopefully it goes that way. I think it's great. What do you guys think when you heard about it?
I was super excited. Anyone who's working at George Washington is probably pretty good. And like you said, the CV being crazy long and him being Georgia guy. I've heard from people within academia at Georgia State, and they all seem pretty excited about him, that he's in meetings and stuff. He's wowed them. So
yeah, Tim, what was your take?
I think he sounds like a good hire. Obviously, he needs to have connections to the AAC and support athletics. Otherwise, I don't want him.
George Washington, I don't believe has athletics. So
they don't have basketball at all?
I don't think they have basketball.
Washington.
I don't know, man.
Maybe.
Like everybody has basketball. Hell, that school that we played this year, they only have like 60 students, and they had a basketball team. Like everybody's got basketball.
Where's his undergrad? Tech,
I believe. Yeah.
So then he should love football, right?
Well, so that's the big question.
No.
Is what? How does he?
It's Tech, man. What are you talking about?
That's why he went to Tech.
Shit. We're effed.
So the big question is how he feels about athletics, because obviously the president has a lot to say about athletics. So, here we go. Matt here. Thank you. George Washington's in the A10. So that's definitely a basketball conference. Yeah. Thanks, Matt.
That's what I thought. They sound familiar.
So the big question is about how he feels about athletics. So we don't know about that at all. I did search his resume for anything I could find about it, and I found that he does list in his hobbies playing basketball. So he likes basketball.
Nice.
Okay, so we got that. And then he played on, or I don't know, it didn't really say much. It said 2001, 2003 faculty staff basketball game at Midnight Madness. So I guess he played on some kind of like staff team, staff faculty game, probably a little exhibition fun type thing for these guys. I don't know. So it sounds like he likes sports at least a little bit. And then he went to Tech and worked at Notre Dame and Miami. So he's worked at school, or been to and worked at schools that have pretty big athletic programs and Tech. So
when he goes to games, does he wear a leather jacket?
Well, he'll need to.
I'm just curious. It's important. I ask the important questions.
That is an important question. I think we need to get a little someone out there to go stalk him and find out what he does in his personal life and whether he wears leather jackets to sporting events. But he's the only finalist named. So this is good. Like, what happens if they?
It's a very competitive field, right?
That's
here.
what I thought was sort of weird. Like, how do you name a single finalist? That doesn't make any sense, because that just means that's the person you're going to hire. Like,
Dr. Becker's like, dude, seriously, please pick him, because I don't want to be here anymore. I gave you guys a year. You found
sign the contract, man.
You found all I need you to do. Found one guy. You found one guy. That's exciting. I think it'd be good. Hopefully he'll come in here, and at least we know he doesn't have to worry about hiring an athletic director, because that was taken care of last week.
Sorry, done for him.
Done for.
For 3 years, 5 years? What was his deal?
I don't know. I still think it's weird.
I think it's 3
or 5.
Extended by 3 years. What else you guys want to talk about? I found a few more things. I found a lot of stuff that went on about Georgia State this week. What do you
that
about?
sweet Rich McKay overhead shot of our convocation center, which is really a basketball arena.
Rich McKay, the former or the president of the Falcons, now posting aerial shots of Mark McKay. Mark McKay. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I can't pull the video up here or the picture up here because I don't have my other monitors and stuff. But yeah, it's a cool aerial shot this morning that Mark McKay posted.
They're plowing right along, building that thing up fast.
Yep.
I mean,
leaving that one southwest corner open to get that crane out. It's like
gotta get that thing out, man.
Yeah, that thing is still. I was looking at it a lot today, and man, it goes just right to the tip top. Like you're going to be sitting right against your back's going to be against the wall.
You can touch the roof.
Hopefully, it's got to be taller than that, right?
I don't know.
It's got.
I don't know. Do you think the window looks compromised? Look at there's a bunch of beams or something going across that window to the city.
I feel like that's on purpose based on the renders. Like, I think the window is lowered from what we thought it would be, and it looks pretty accurate to the renders, I would say.
Yeah, I went back and looked at the renderings today, and I'm still bummed out that we don't get the
other one.
It's not running east-west, and it's running north-south instead. So yeah,
you're not gonna care.
Well, once we're in there, it'll be good.
We're gonna be lower level. We'll be able to see out the window. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
I thought the window, just based on what we saw, it looked like it was a lot of wood framing, and I was thinking it looked like something that could be removed. Like maybe it's just in place to support as they build the structure, and then they could remove that stuff. Who knows? I'm not in construction.
They have one job, Ryan. Do not put up those weird scoreboards and put a board over center court.
What? Why?
Why not use a scoreboard in the center?
Yeah, our new scoreboard that we just got like a couple years ago.
Use any scoreboard over center court.
Why?
Over the two screens they show in the render.
Oh. I don't know.
No, we're not moving that chandelier over from Sports Arena over
It's
to.
great. I love that thing.
Yes, and we'll get something better. We'll get something way better.
Will we?
Yes, we will.
I hope so.
Wasn't that one secondhand? Didn't they buy that off somebody?
I don't think so.
I thought they did.
I thought it was brand new.
I like it's so much better than what we had before, but if you watch, it's not that good a quality. It's not great.
It's probably mid quality. It's not.
It's better.
Top of the line.
It's better than what we had, but I don't know. I want better. I want like 4K hologram shot into my eye sockets. That's what I want.
I was just gonna call for a ribbon board around the top, like in the Merc.
Like the Halo.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need that.
I mean, if we go from a board on the wall, if we go from a board on the wall to center court back to on the walls, we got problems. Gotta figure that out. GoFundMe the shit out of that.
Oh God!
GoFundMe. We could do that.
Not the GoFundMe again, please, guys. Come on.
We have like 15 GoFundMes going right now.
David, did you get standards for this podcast all of a sudden? Come on, guys. No GoFundMes. Not this time.
No, my wife is tired of hearing about GoFundMes. I don't need to hear it when I get offline.
So we do the podcast for your wife. Got it.
Do you realize that you did nothing to stop us from talking about GoFundMes just now? I don't have to live with her.
True.
If you guys want me to keep on doing this, then yes. Let's. Yeah.
Isn't there something else?
Then stop talking about GoFundMes.
Fine, we'll do a Kickstarter.
Do a Kickstarter. So, anyways, Tim, you sent out a thing right before we got on here about the Sun Belt is eliminating the intra-conference transfer rule. I'm gonna tell you, I had no idea there was an intra-conference transfer rule.
What is that?
Just copying the SEC. That's it.
Yeah, it's so. I guess you were not allowed if you were a transferring student. You couldn't transferring athlete. You could not transfer to another school within the Sun Belt without permission or just
without
period?
Permission. Right? Yeah. I think you could do it with permission, but it was like from the conference headquarters to do it.
Yeah, that is
stupid. Sit out and all that garbage.
I mean, as far as being Georgia State, I don't think there's a single person in Atlanta that's ever been like, "Oh my God, I gotta get out of here and go to Monroe, Louisiana. That's where I need to be right now. That's my life would be so much better if I was in Troy, Alabama right now. Everything would be fixed if I was in Statesboro. No, nobody that lives in Atlanta wants to go to any of those other Sunbelt cities. So I don't think that's an issue for us. I mean, maybe we get some secondhand trash from those schools, but we're not really going to worry about losing any players for this.
Goodness, man.
Strong. Yeah, no, I can see players wanting to come to Georgia State University and get out of the swamps, right?
Exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of swamps in this fucking this conference.
They come play at Georgia State. They may go to Magic City afterwards, and they want to transfer. Yeah,
get the best wings in Atlanta. Yeah, I'm all for it.
Best wings in Atlanta. I can't say what else happened there, but yeah.
I'm sure you guys know my opinion on this. The whole rules around where kids can and can't go to school is pretty silly. So glad to see those go out the window. I was always glad when Mark Richt was coach at UGA because he made a point of being like, I don't care where you go to school. Like, if you want to go somewhere, if you want to go to Florida next, like, that's where you're going. That's cool. Like, no problem. Yeah. So
you should be like, please stay in conference because we'll kick your ass no matter what school you go to. If you're not good enough to be here.
I think people think that you'll have like a competitive advantage because you've done training with that team and like, you know the plays and stuff like that. But like, it's football. Like, there's not a lot of plays. Like it's not like a big secret. People are you can just go watch film and you can see what a team's plays are, you know?
Yeah, and it's not like it's the NFL where I know that happens in the NFL where they'll sign a guy that got cut by a team. They'll sign him basically for like a few weeks to get his playbook knowledge and then just cut him afterwards and he's not around. You know, it's not the same thing in college football, especially
I bet in NFL level. It's just because they've got so much money to throw around they don't care. But I would bet that does not give very much of a benefit.
That depends. I think that if you're playing a conference opponent, or a divisional opponent, I can see it helping especially with some of these coaches that have been there for a long time. You kind of get a little bit deeper insider knowledge, knowledge.
And that's the other thing is coaches that have been there for a long time, like, what they've been doing at all. They go to a new team and like they just implement their playbook, the same playbook they've always been implementing. Like, people know these teams. It's just football, man. You're just blocking for somebody to either pass the ball or run the ball, and like that's it every play. I mean, come on.
They're just getting rid of this rule for you.
Yeah, you're either going to throw the ball or run the ball. Those are really your only options. So,
and then if you're on the other side, you want to tackle the person with the ball. I mean, it's not like it's not rocket surgery, you know. I mean, there's not a lot.
Points you win, right, Ryan?
It's not a lot going on.
Rocket surgery. So wait, Ryan, when the student athletes become employees of the schools, will this just be like a store transfer from store A to store B? Like, employees
they're not widgets. They're people.
No, like you work at Best Buy store transfer? 1, you want to go to store 2. You just I want to do a transfer.
No, they'll have to sign non-compete clauses, and you can't go to another school in conference or in division because it's a non-compete clause. You got to sit out for 6 months.
You people are the worst.
Rules.
We finally got another basketball game figured out for this season, playing at Richmond Spiders.
All right, that's a CAA team, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it might be.
Yeah, they're Colonial with us.
Were they? We played Richmond.
They might have moved to the A10 too. I don't know. We needed
they were Colonial with us.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
Well, I had no idea like if they were good or not, so I kind of looked up how the final RPIs finished out last year, and they finished at 72 overall. We were 42. So, all right,
Matthew
cool. I'll take
also
that.
says A10 for that one. So,
all right, there we go. A10 as well. Thanks, Matt. Man. Exactly.
I know John's got a competition.
Also, I got to put this up here because Matthew's talking about how Ryan was wrong. Richmond was not in the CAA. Anytime
I guess I get confused because of the Virginia schools or whatever.
Close enough.
The number one way to get your comment on the screen here is to tell Ryan that he's wrong. I will always put those up, and I'll let him hang out. And I'll let them hang out even longer than I probably should, just to prove that Ryan's wrong.
I think Matthew's wrong.
So one thing interesting I noticed when I was looking at those RPIs, just to look at Richmond and us, was that so we were 42. You know who 43 was?
Who? What?
Tech. Tech.
Ooh.
And we host Tech. That's the only other game we know right now is we host Tech. And so we don't host. We're at Tech again this season. We go to Tech, part of our 2-1 thing we scheduled with them. So we'll be back there again. So we got a lot of guys coming back. Most of the guys are coming back, and we have guys coming back from injury as well. So I think that we can go ahead and mark in permanent marker another W for Georgia State against Tech in basketball.
I'm excited about going to the game this year.
Well, yeah, exactly. It stunk with the COVID crap not being able to go last year. That was a hell of what was it like 18 overtimes or something?
Pretty much. I remember drinking way too much during that. That's all I remember.
It felt like it. It felt like it. It was
no one
a fun
can
game.
Win. Yeah.
Yeah, it was which team just was ready to go home. And fortunately, they were both really close to home, so it wasn't a long drive for anybody. I guess we're done with that conversation.
So I'm looking it up, and Richmond definitely was CAA. I don't know until when, but they were the conference regular season champions as soon as recent as 2001, which I know is a really long time ago. So I don't know why I would know that. And they were A10 champions as recently as 2011, so 10 years ago at least. But, something in my head knew. I had that fact in there. CAA.
Yeah. That was a crap conference. Well, that was actually a pretty good conference for us to be in without.
It was a great basketball conference to be in.
Yeah. We just weren't good back then.
Well, and you remember when we moved to Sunbelt, Coach Hunter was upset about it because he came here thinking that we would be playing like VCU every year and that we would actually maybe make it like a 2-team conference.
Right.
2-team bid, right? Isn't that what it's called? 2-team bid conference.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we moved to Sunbelt, which is
multi-bid.
The Sunbelt.
A multi-team bid. Yeah. I remember talking to Coach Hunter about that at 6 Feet Under because that's where we do all of our events. And he was. I made a comment. It's like, well, you'll just win the conference every single season, and you'll go to the championship every single season. He's like, yeah, like I know,
no.
It makes the regular season not matter though, which is really annoying. Like you literally only have to win the tournament, and that's it, and then you're good to go. And
then, especially when you allow all the teams into the tournament, even kind of obviously you want to get your seeding higher. So that you can, have an easier shot to it. But when it comes down to it, as long as you're the hottest team playing at the end of the season, it doesn't really matter. As long as
you could go out there and treat every game like practice up until the tournament, and literally lose every game and not care, and then just go to the tournament and win because you're rested and well practiced.
So your new strategy is we bench all of our best players throughout the entire season. So they're well rested and fully.
No, you have to let them kick the rust off.
Knock the rust off.
Whatever.
Kick it, knock it, whatever. It's all the same.
The team has to gel. They got to
gel. Come on, David.
There was Tim, you said something else across a few days ago. We got some preseason bowl projections.
Yeah, we're projected for the Myrtle Beach Bowl, I think.
Yeah, that crap ass stadium.
Got to play on a teal turf.
Teal turf against Kent State. I actually had to look up where Kent State was. I'm like, is that another one of those colleges? It's in Texas because they got like 80 of them. And no, it's actually in the other state that's got 80 colleges in Ohio.
Okay. I actually didn't know where Kent State was either. So.
All right, so I do have a trivia question for you guys without looking it up online. Do you know the nickname of Kent State?
The Golden Flames.
What do you got, Ryan?
I don't know, some kind of lightning bolt.
Well, okay, you guys, if you combine pretty good, the Golden Flash, the Kent State Golden Flash. I have never heard of that before in my entire life.
Obviously, Tim and I had it somewhere in our brains, but not the whole thing.
I went to Wikipedia to go look at. Well, obviously, they must have had like a Indian or some kind of like racist mascot at some point. They switched it so that it's the Golden Flash, which is why I'd never heard of it. No, that's not the case. They're just the Golden Flash, but then like their actual mascot is Flash the Golden Eagle. I'm so glad I didn't go to Kent State. That just sounds like embarrassing to talk about.
Yeah, and plus it shares the word eagle. So
Yeah, not a fan of that either. Not a fan of that either. So
we're not playing them, and we're not going to Myrtle Beach. That's the end of that.
No, we'll be in the New Year's Six Bowl.
Projection.
We are going to win the conference, and we are going to be in a New Year's Six game.
Even better. Wherever that's
what's happening. Mark it down. Write it up in your calendar. I got it. All right, guys. I think that's good for this week. What do you guys think?
All right.
I think it's a wrap.
I think this was a good one. Let's go over to last call and talk about how much more Ryan is wrong about. Let's talk about the basketball. Yeah, let's go on last call. We're gonna talk about the basketball tournament. We have an actual roster made for that. Let's talk all about that in last call. I think that'll be a good conversation for us to have there. Some changes that happened from the last time we talked to Devin about it. So that'll be good. So thanks everybody for listening. We're gonna head over to last call. That's where we drink some more, talk a little bit more candidly about Georgia State and the episode we just recorded. It's free on our Patreon page, patreon.com/State of Atlanta. Free on Fridays, available to our Patreon members immediately. Check out Patreon to join that. You get access to our private group chat. You get discounts on our merchandise, which I think my code was playoffs. I didn't set up a little thing on that little ticker on here, but playoffs this week at merch.stateofatlanta.com to get free shipping. Say goodbye, guys.
Goodbye, guys.
Peace.